Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. This week I have two main goals for this video. One is to answer a viewer's question, and the second goal will be to bring you up to date on all of the work that got done here this week at the mandolin shop. So we'll tackle our viewer's question from last week's episode or the week before. Travis was wanting to know some rough dimensions on mandolin backs and tops when you're carving the plates for a mandolin. Basically, what are some of the rough dimensions that you go to? Now, I'm going to give you all of the dimensions in fractions of an inch, basically drill bit sizes. And so that's how we'll speak, because I don't understand the metric system very well. So we're going to go with drill bit sizes. And what he wanted to know basically was how thick do you carve these things, and basically how thick of the rough board do you start with. So his question specifically was, if you set this mandolin back down on a tabletop like this, how high is this point off of the tabletop? And I hope that I can answer that with this drawing and some measurements that I have taken. So come closer, look here, and I have drawn a cross section of this mandolin back right here. And that cross section is, if we just cut this back right here and just kind of looked at it, we get that effect right there, and we have it right here on this piece of paper, this arch right here, and here's the tabletop. And what he wants is this right here, this measurement from the tabletop to this part right here. And I've taken measurements not only from me, but also the Roger Siminoff book, which is Constructing a Bluegrass Mandolin, a complete technical guide. We discussed this a couple of episodes ago. And I also took the measurements off of the Don McRosty drawn plans that you can purchase through Stuart McDonald. And so I'll give you three different measurements, but they're all pretty much close. Okay, so from the tabletop here to the top of the mandolin, the Roger Siminoff one is 5/8 of an inch, that measurement. Don McRosty's is 9/16, and mine, I have a little flatter arch than either one of those two guys. I usually shoot for about 15-30 seconds. Now the next thing that he wanted to know was basically how thick is this top at the thickest part right in the middle, right here. And the answer to that question is Roger Siminoff's book looks like it measures out to be about 1/4 of an inch. The Stuart McDonald plans show it to be about 3/16 of an inch, and mine is 7/32. So that'll give you that measurement for the thicknesses of the top right here, right there in the middle. Now, it thins on down, and I didn't measure the other two, but say right in here, mine goes down to about 9/64, and then flares back up to the thickness of this piece of binding, which is 13/64 this way. So it flares back up so that that sits right in there just like that. 13/64. And that pretty much should give you at least a rough idea of the tolerances or the range that you can use if you're going to build your own mandolin. Now let's get back to the mandolin work that we did this week. Started off this week with mandolin number 2. If you recall, we glued the back on it pretty close to the end of the video last week. This week I took it out of the prop bar deck, cleaned the sides up and the back, all the excess overhang, and got everything sanded down to about 80 grit, in some places 100, and I put it back in the box to await the next step in construction, which would be getting it ready to glue on the fretboard. Number 4 mandolin, we did a lot of work last week cutting the binding channel in the back of it. It's a master model. It's going to take 3-ply binding and has the double binding lids and everything. So this week I got the inner black, white, black strips all completely glued in, and yesterday afternoon I glued the first piece of black outer binding on mandolin number 4. I made the most progress, I guess, on mandolin number 5 this week. I glued the back on mandolin number 5 early this week. Got it out, got it all cleaned up, sanded down, and it also is a master model. It's going to take 3-ply binding on the back. Cut all of that channel, and by Wednesday afternoon, I had the first piece of the inner black, white, black glued in, and yesterday I got a couple of other pieces glued in. So, made a lot of progress on mandolin number 5 this week. In the times that I was waiting for the binding, the glued binding to dry on mandolins number 4 and 5, I also got the back glued on mandolin number 6 this week. So it's in there in the prop bar deck right now. And it is now, mid-morning on Friday, so I'm going to go back in for the rest of the day and just kind of work my way back down the line there, starting at the front, and just go as far as I can before quitting time today. And I'd like to say thank you so very much for sticking with me to the end of this video, and hope to see you again next week whenever we do the next episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. Won't you join us then? See you later.